Hey everyone, happy 2026. I'm going to show you a nice, refreshing, healthy, and delicious salad that I have been really enjoying the last few months. So it starts with beets. If you don't like beets, probably just don't make this. I don't know. You could use carrots, I'd say, as a substitute if you don't like beets. Or try golden beets because they have a lot less and intense flavor of these beets. I love beets, so I'm going to use them. So what I've done is I've cut off their little stems and I have peeled them. And I did that off camera because I didn't want to get beet juice on my camera. Anyway, I have preheated my oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and I just douse them in, I'm just going to douse them in some olive oil and a little salt, and I'm going to roast them at 425 until they are done. I don't know how long that's going to take because I never use a recipe. I will tell you how long it takes in the video, though. If this is too much work for you, it takes a good 5 to 10 minutes to peel all these beets. And incidentally, this is going to make about 4 servings of salad. So you got like 2 small to medium-sized beets per serving as like a small meal salad, not as a side dish salad. This could probably serve 8 as a side dish. But anyway, if you don't want to go through the trouble, and if you actually like the flavor of canned beets, power to you, go ahead and use canned beets. But yeah, if you don't like beets and you've only had them canned, it might be because you've had them canned. They're really tasty when you roast them fresh like this. Oven is preheated, perfect timing. Let's put them in the oven with my oily hand. Let's use my clean hand. Close the oven door with my non-oily foot. Okay, it has now been an hour. Please be done. I am hungry. Woo! There we go. It's going in with a little bit of resistance, but that is done. Now I gotta let these cool to preferably room temperature. Okay, so I'm going to make a simple vinaigrette. Of course, you can buy a vinaigrette and use whatever vinaigrette you like, but I don't like store-bought vinaigrettes, so I make my own. I'm just going to use the zest of probably 1 lemon, recycled jar, and the juice of 2 lemons. This knife is just pink from the beet juice. Yeah, and I really like a citrusy vinaigrette in particular for this salad because there is also citrus in the salad proper. Now I just have this half of a lime that is in the fridge and I have no plans for it and I don't want it to go bad, so I'm just going to add it also just because I happen to have it. And to this lemon and lime juice I'm going to add a little salt and a little black pepper. I honestly just really like to keep this dressing simple. And olive oil. And this is counterintuitive, but I also add a splash of water. It actually just helps it emulsify. Give it a good shake. And see, it is emulsified. Now I'm going to go ahead and slice all of these beets. This is a form of meal prep. That way, every other time this week I want to make this salad, I'm going to have the sliced beets available. Now, I like to just slice these thinly. I think it's a nice presentation and it's kind of fun to eat it that way, but slice them however you want. I have since been thinking, since I gave the potential substitute of carrots instead of beets, and butternut squash or like pumpkin or any hard squash that you like would also probably be a pretty good substitute for the beets in this salad if you don't like beets. I mean, it's kind of like the ship of Theseus. At some point it ceases to be the salad that I have shown you, but you can, like pretty much every component of this salad, you could do some substitution if it's something that you don't have or something that you don't like or something you're allergic to or whatever. So, make it your own. I personally just really love the combination of beet and goat cheese. And if you are like me and you also love that, then you will probably love this salad. There will be substitutions for the goat cheese as well that I will mention when I get there. I also think beets are just really pretty. I don't know, I love the color. I'm kind of picky about my reds. I love like a nice rich, like cranberry, a cool red like this. I don't like warm fire engine red, but I really like a nice cool red like this beet. Nice dark cool red. It's just beautiful color. These beets are still ever so slightly warm, but I am very hungry, so. And they'll cool off faster after they've been cut. And if you're nervous about how close I'm getting to my fingers, this is a dull knife. So I don't think I am capable of cutting myself with it. Okay, so these are the beets for the rest of the week. And though I like it best with room temperature beets, it's fine with cold beets as well. These final 2 beets are going to be for the salad that I'm about to eat right now. I don't, eat super healthy in January because new year, new me, New Year's resolution. Rather, just I eat a bunch of crap in December. So much Christmas candy and cookies and prime rib roast and just really fatty, not nutritious food. And I just crave healthy food in January. Like, something like this salad hits so well. Okay, they're my beets for today's salad. So I have here a plate of nasturtium greens from my garden. My nasturtium greens are still at it. We had a couple frosts though, so they're dying now, but I rescued these after the frost, the ones that were still okay. And I am just going to scatter the beet pieces around the plate artistically. I don't know, you can get really fancy if you want, or you can just dump everything in a bowl. I'm not the boss of you. Okay, the next component of this is orange. You could use grapefruit or like tangerine if you want, but I think a citrus fruit is really important. So you can segment this, like, open the orange with your fingers and segment it, but I prefer to segment it this way. So you cut off right down to the flesh. So we're discarding a lot of that outer membrane. Compost that. So this little orange you got left over, see where these little lines are? These are how you segment an orange. And then you just pop it out, and then beautiful little orange segment. When I first had this salad, actually, it was from a local food truck. Portland is known for its food trucks. And it was nice, but they used like segmented clementine, and like, I don't like, it wasn't segmented like this, like where the flesh was exposed. And I really like the flesh to be exposed because it's so much juicier and much more flavorful than if you leave these like membranes in there. And it just makes the salad juicier. And this bit of flesh that's left over at the end after you have desegmented the orange, you can, squeeze that and get some goodness out of it. I think I'm going to squeeze it into my dressing. That's yet another reason to make your own dressing. The last piece is always the hardest to get out. Again, this is a dull knife, so don't worry, I'm not going to hurt myself. I do my best to squeeze the rest into the dressing. There, now it is a lemon lime orange vinaigrette. We are bougie. Okay, and artistically arrange these segments. These are so big, like I could cut these. If I weren't trying to make this semi-pretty for YouTube, I probably would cut these orange segments in half just so that I'll probably cut them in half as I'm eating the salad. Just dump the rest of the juice onto it. We aren't quite done yet. I'll use the dirty beet side. All right, so now another component is pistachios. I got this big old bag of raw pistachios from Costco for really cheap, and I do think it is best with pistachios, so that is what I'm going to use. It's about like a couple tablespoons, but obviously use whatever nut you have or like. And I like to give it a good chop. You don't want like giant nut pieces in here. And pistachios are just really pretty too. Okay, before we add the dressing, there is one final component, and it is a quarter of this log of Chev goat cheese. So if you are one of those sad people who does not like the wonderful, wonderful food of the gods that is fresh goat cheese, use any fresh cheese like ricotta or burrata or mascarpone or cream cheese or feta. Or like blue cheese, if you're one of those weird people who likes blue cheese, or one of those creamy plant-based spreading cheeses if you're vegan. Yeah, just I would advise against using any harder cheeses, any more aged cheese, more like a nice fresh milky cheese that's going to melt a little bit into the dressing. And I don't try to cut this, I just crumble it with my fingers. You can also get that drier fresh goat cheese that does crumble a bit more like feta, and that would be really nice too, but I love chèvre so much. I love it. It's one of my favorite cheeses, and it's so good. I particularly love the funky barnyardy flavor that it imparts. I'm gonna lick my fingers and come back. Okay, all that remains is to put on some dressing. A nice little drizzle. Okay, and now it is time to eat. I am so hungry. All right, I'm trying to get the perfect bite. Trying to get a little bit of everything. The nasturtium green, it imparts a little bit of nice peppery flavor, but it's mostly there just kind of for nutrition. Oh, right. Most people aren't going to have nasturtium greens. Totally use baby spinach or baby arugula if you want the peppery note. This is just so balanced. You've got the peppery bitterness of the nasturtium green, the funky saltiness and creaminess of the goat cheese, the acidity of the citrus in the dressing, and then the nice earthy sweetness. These beets are so sweet because we roasted them. And then the nice little crunch and pop of fatty goodness from the pistachios. It's just a really nice, balanced, refreshing, and pretty healthy light meal. I consider this a light meal. Anyway, I hope you make this if you like beets and chev. I know it's very divisive ingredients, but I hope you like it. Hope you give it a try. And I hope you are hanging in there amid all the insanity.